I started Zomato 16 years ago in 2008, and my dad at that time told me, "जानता है तेरा बाप कौन है?" And his point was that you can't do a startup, right? And so I come from a small town in Punjab. That's the background. But over the last 16 years, I think a lot has changed, especially over the last 7, 8, 10 years as well. As Rajiv ji said, the government has really gotten out of the way, and thank you so much for that. And I hope that actually continues in good ways going forward.
I think there is no doubt in my mind, that this industry, the country, and our company has come a very, very long way. Remembering a time when we imported almost all the mobile phones that were sold in the country. I think we were importing almost all the electronic products. Probably it's the first time in the history that a country has produced almost $100 billion worth of electronic products. Not only that, the category of electronics and mobile phones is the 5th largest category of exports. Honorable Minister, the Josh is so high now that we are looking at almost $100 billion worth of exports of mobile phones alone happening from the country. And, I remember someone just asking me recently that what really happened, what was the big change that brought about this massive transformation. So I think there is no doubt in our minds that this was definitely thanks to the very proactive policies of the Government of India, and especially our ministry led by our Honorable Dynamic Minister, Shri Chandrasekhar. It was also the huge focus on ease of doing business, and which was personally championed by Shri Amitabh Kanji. But I think the biggest change, according to me, that has happened is the change in the mindset of Indian entrepreneurs. And this happened because of the call that our Honorable Prime Minister gave almost 10 years back, that let's make in India. Let's make India the next hub for manufacturing for the world. And I think this is the biggest change that has happened. So thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for that. So going forward, you asked for certain suggestions. There has been a lot of talk about, mobile phone manufacturing. That are we really doing manufacturing? What's the value addition in the country? Of course, we know that the value addition is still low. It's only about 20%. But I'm very happy to tell you that if you look at other product categories like LED lighting, televisions, and some other products, the value addition in the country is almost as high as 75%. So, sir, I think one of the priorities, if I may suggest, definitely should be the creation of a robust and strong component ecosystem, maybe a PLI or a combined specs scheme for the component ecosystem. And finally, maybe a call for the Honorable Prime Minister to make India now a products nation, where we not only make our products in India, but we design our products in India.
I want to share 2 anecdotes along the way where we've been supported extensively by the government. In 2016, when we were still a small and fledgling startup, the then Minister of Skill and Entrepreneurship invited me over to his office. I was a bit surprised, and I went there, and he said, "I've studied your model. Tell me what is needed to supercharge and scale it up rapidly." I said, "Sir, we're investing heavily in training and quality, but somehow the consumer trust in welcoming a stranger home is still missing." He said, "Don't worry about it. in the next 30 days, if what you're saying is true and you are indeed investing in this training and quality control, we will sign an MOU with you, which is all encompassing, and every service professional on your platform will get an NSDC certification as best in class, and you can put the certification on the app for all consumers to see. As it stands today, all 57,000 service professionals are NSDC certified best in class. They wear the Skill India logo on their t-shirts, and you can see their certificate on the app, which also comes with an insurance. I've also had the privilege of working with several of our colleagues here, along with Minister Goyal as part of the National Startup Advisory Council. We've had several sessions which go into details of each point, including how do we raise more domestic capital, how do we thrive incubators in the country, etc. And often, those meetings which are scheduled for a couple of hours go late into the night. Many of us are tired, but the minister is never tired. And eventually we have to request him that it's time for us to go home because our spouses are waiting. So I think there is an energy and a zeal in the last 10 years that we've seen, which will only unlock India's potential in the coming 10 years. For the next 5 years, my humble submission would be the government is on a fast-track mission of infrastructure development and reforms that should continue, and I am sure India's potential will be unlocked.
The last 4 years, what this government has done has just unlocked the opportunity in our space of maps and geospatial, and not just for us as a company, but as a country. It's clearly Prime Minister Modi's vision for what maps and geospatial can do. He did this in Gujarat, and he knows what it can do for India. And so in 1 year, 2021, opening maps, geospatial, space and drone, I think he unlocked this trinity of technologies that can take the country into a different orbit. And I remember all the pain that we used to go to with the police at our doorstep saying, we'll shut down and take your servers. I cried at the shoulders of Abhiraj Sir multiple times during COVID time, and he was the one saying, no, do not shut shop. When the policy came, we all relieved, and then Rajiv Sir gave the inspiration that focus on Atmanirbhar Bharat, focus on digital India. I think clearly we can say that Mapun is a product of this government forward view on technology and on policy, enabling us to serve the country. I'll just say one thing, sir, as an ask for next 5 years. Like you said, nothing can be taken for granted. So we really wish for continuity the way things have been going. We want to see much more of that. We are part of this. But even East India Company may not be here physically, but Digital East India Company is still here. So we really want to see the government enable Indian companies to do the same in the next 5 years to enable India's growth indigenously, and wish for that.
Hi, Honorable Ministers. Hi, and thank you so much, sir, for inviting us here. So, my story is that I was sitting in London in 2014, and as soon as I'm not just saying this because I'm here, but as soon as the Modi government got elected, me and my wife, both our minds started reading and saying that, listen, अब वापस अपने देश जाना है, वापस हिंदुस्तान जाना है. 2015 is actually when we made the move back. And looking at our idols, Deepinder, and the Bansals from Flipkart, they inspired us a lot to come back. So my wife had just completed her PhD from Oxford. So she then came here and joined NITI Aayog under Mr. Amitabh Khan. And I came and started my entrepreneurial journey. Now it's been 9 years, and then we've sort of incubated 2 unicorns. And we are now empowering 1 million SMEs. And we are essentially working with, NHAI. They contract 30,000 contractors, and we are the largest supplier of steel and bitumen to them. So one thing about the government, I think the government has been quite unpredictable at times, and then we realized only after a few months that, that those policies are actually good. One was demonetization, and one policy that worked against us was, the debut date of 13 May 2022, when you decided to do the wheat ban, and that time. We had a decent amount of exposure, and I remember not sleeping for about 7 nights straight. How to come to that? But yeah, so I think what we set up for the next 5, 7, 10 years, and in fact even 20 years, is the fact that we have a large array, large space to play in, and just the digitization that is taking place in India is outstanding. Not only the consumers, the SMEs, everyone is now latching onto the Digital India initiative. Manufacture in India, has helped us quite a bit. We employ close to 2,000 people in the head office and 5,000 people in our manufacturing plants. So manufacturing in India has been a great boon for us, and we are actually exporting a decent amount to the global countries as well.
Back in year 2005, there were 70,000 millennials in India, and it was predicted at that time that India is going to have 250,000 millennials. But as we know that in year 2021, India had 760,000 millennials. So I believe that the adoption of technology and the public infrastructure being made by the government has made that kind of change, and that is something which has happened with Eastmatter also, because in 2015 Eastmatter was more focusing on doing the business with the corporates and also with the travel agents, the tour operators. But after 2015, Eastmatter has started working with the direct consumers because of the digital infrastructure and the digital India initiative which is being launched by the government. So I would really very much thankful to the government.
2016 was the year when Startup India was started, and that's the year when we quit our jobs and decided to start this company. And in just 7 years, we've been able to take the company public. We employ over 10,000 people now. And that's the story of New India. That's what's possible today. And I think we've gotten a lot of courage and inspirations from hearing our leaders talk about how the possibilities in New India are just immense. And I would like to only focus on one part and one area which I genuinely believe we need to focus on from the next 15 years perspective, and that is employment generation, and that too with a focus on pace, quality and relevance over the next 15 years in that order. And when I say pace, at least in the short term, I think what we need is the continued effort that the government has been putting in terms of generation in number of employment that we need to do by focusing on sectors like manufacturing, infrastructure, delivery, services, etc. And I think it's very important that in the short term, we are able to add 50 to 100 million new jobs into the economy. And the second area is, of course, quality. While currently the focus is on numbers, in the medium term, we also need to become far more quality employers, and that's where focusing on research and development, as we talked about, design, medicine and entrepreneurship is going to help us create much better quality of jobs. And my third request will be focusing on relevance. And we talked about AI, we talked about the fact that we still are a large back office for the world. And while we focus on capturing AI and capturing the global market of AI, and we must also be cognizant that the first impact that AI is going to have is on reducing back office and jobs which require manual discipline, and are jobs which are being done by a lot of India. And if we have to ensure that we are able to overcome that, we need to reskill and focus on our education today, and so that 10 to 15 years down the line, when this revolution comes through, then our people are actually prepared to take on the new opportunities which get created. And so I think those three would be the focus areas that I would request.
See, the story of mobile phones, what has happened in India is a very inspiring story. It's 2014, we were on ground zero at the time. From there, we have grown about 2100%. We are producing about more than 4 lakh crores worth of phones. The increase is about 21 times. Electronics, we have grown about 400%. Electronics is now $150 million. Electronics was a sector which was completely shunned by the investing world. It was a bad word. Today, Sunil Bachani is here. We have a lot of listed companies. The enthusiasm is red hot the valuations we are getting are red hot. In fact, I told the Foxconn chairman tongue in cheek that, I feel a little sorry that you are listed in Taiwan. If you had been listed in India, because you're in electronics, you would have been valued at about not $50 billion, maybe $200 billion. That's the enthusiasm in this country.